Good morning, this is Jack from Charting Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 11th of November. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, we had a strong day up yesterday. We don't have any negative divergence on ES or NQ or RTY. Or YM, which is still finishing off a buy signal, which has reached the possible near miss target. We do have sell signals which are fixed, weak sell signals which are fixed on DAX and ESTX. Nope, full size sell signal on ESTX actually. All right, so where are we? Well, I am wondering about inverted head and shoulders forming here. This is a little oversized for an IHS, and the same less so with NQ, but actually that's a very decent size on RTY, and it's a pretty decent size on YM as well relative to the preceding trend. So I am wondering whether we're going to see a bit more of a decline to form a right shoulder, and then potentially that gives us a pattern to get us back up into the highs. Nothing as obvious on DAX. Obviously we've got a potential inverted head and shoulders double bottom forming there. ESTX, we don't really have a pattern. We're pretty close to the highs already. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, on ES and on everything else, we saw a substantial move back above the daily middle band. Now that can still reject today, but I have to say a move of this strength would normally not reject. Really, we'd need, for it to reject, we'd need a pretty solid move back, retracing most of yesterday's ascent. And I would say, of course, that today is the bearish day this week. We've got hang on, wait a second. What's the stat? Right, Veterans Day. Lean significantly bearish, 42%, 43% green closes on SPX, only 29% Dow 43%, SPX and NDX only 29% green closes. So we do have a bearish headwind today. Can it get us back into a full rejection candle below the daily middle band? I'm skeptical. That's quite a sizable move. We will see. But we've seen a very nice break above yesterday. Is it heading back to the highs? At this stage, I'd be leaning towards probably yes. Looking at the hourly chart, we have an RSI 5 buy signal here on the hourly chart that's made target. Really, I'd be looking for a retest of the high, and then we see whether it can get back to the wedge resistance. We've got nice looking rising wedges. They've broken down. I'm looking for topping patterns, and as soon as we get back to the retest of the high, I'll be wondering whether that is the second high of a double top. Exactly the same on Qs, which again gapped above the daily middle band and closed well above it. Looking for a potential rejection candle today, but not really expecting one. On the hourly chart, again, looking for a retest of the high. Not looking for head and shoulders here. We needed to go down lower for that, so we'll see. All right, looking at Dire. We haven't actually got as far below the daily middle band there in any case, and that has seen a very decent rally and a close back above. On the hourly chart, obviously we've broken below the rising wedge support. So again, I'm looking for a topping pattern. We could reverse and go head down towards those targets I gave last week, but I am leaning at this stage towards seeing a retest of the high. All right, let's have a look at IWM. Okay, IWM. We've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal which has fixed. I'm not sure how seriously to take that, but this is now because this has fallen so far and actually got down to the 3SD lower band on the daily chart. We're actually now retesting resistance at the daily middle band. I'm leaning towards it getting above it. But obviously, if we fail here, this is looking more like the crypto charts, which none of those have broken over the daily middle band yet. On the hourly chart, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal which fixed late yesterday, so I'm leaning towards seeing some downside today. And you can see we've got a very nice looking potential inverted head and shoulders here. I'm going to have a quick look at the 15 minutes on the others there. So let's have a look at SPX. bit high for it. Might deliver anyway, but I'm not sure I'd count it as an inverted head and shoulders. Q's, bit big for it, but arguably. Dire, again, it's pretty nice. Form a right shoulder here and become very nice inverted head and shoulders. So IWM and IWM and Dire are the main ones I'm watching on those. All right, let's have a look at the. Hang on, bear with me a moment. Let's have a look at DAX. Now, DAX is still under the daily middle band and about to test that. Nikkei bounced off the daily middle band and has rallied from there. We've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed from there. Now, what are the prospects for? Well, I'm still looking for a high here. My base case really is thinking that we're going to see a lot of weakness in 2026. We may well see a full bear market in 2026, and potentially, if things go badly, we can actually see a crash. Do I think that AI is in a bubble? Yes. I think it's pretty obviously a bubble. I've been posting a lot of charts as the charts of the day, which basically add up to we're currently in a bubble. So, but the question is with the bubble is always when it ends. I think there's a pretty good chance it's going to that we're topping out for that now. But if there was another leg up, well, that wouldn't be unprecedented. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the DX chart. DX, we've been retracing a bit. Still leaning towards the upside, but I would say I've got a pretty nice looking rising megaphone, and this would be basically the rising support trend line, although it's not quite in the same place on the RTH chart. But this is really what I'm watching to see. I would like it to not reach this trend line and break up before that happens. Looking at ZB, ZB, we've got a potential little level bottom here I was talking about yesterday. That is now starting to break up. I was talking about on the bigger picture seeing a bit of a rally here before likely continuing down. This looks like that rally. So a sustained breakup over this area here is going to look for about the 118 area, I think. Nope, that's a little low. Where would that be? No, more like the 119, 1824 to 119 area. So watching to see if we get that rally. Got some resistance at the weekly pivot on the way. Looking at ZN. ZN, could this be an IHS? Only if it was particularly ugly. I'm not really seeing a reversal pattern here at the moment. Looking at CL. CL, with this falling wedge I've been looking at, has actually started breaking up. This is a bull flag pattern and is setting up for a retest of this high here in the 62, 55 to 60 area. HO, we've got a nice looking rising wedge here that's broken down, and looks like we're retesting the high. And of course, that could be the second high of a double top, or we could continue up to wedge resistance, which is currently in the 2.6 area. RBOB has broken slightly below the rising wedge support as well. Again, looks like it's returning to the high. NG, nice looking potential head and shoulders forming here, actually. Wondering if that might play out. Holding support at the weekly pivot so far. And the week 6 minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. GC, we've got watching to see whether this head and shoulders is going to fail. It's getting pretty close to failing, actually. If so, the normal next target would be a retest of the high, and I've got that resistance in about the 4160 area because that's the right shoulder high on the head and shoulders. So we're getting pretty close to it, and that may well fail. Looking at SI, that's already failed, and an alternate IHS has broken up with a target in the 52.35 area. We do have a 60-minute sell signal fixed. Looking at Palladium, we've got a possible weak 6-minute sell signal brewing. We're watching for the failure of the head and shoulders there too. At the moment, I'm thinking it's increasingly likely they're all going to fail. But I've got that currently at 1555.90, and obviously that's a significantly further distance away than it is on gold. Looking at platinum, this could still be a bear flag forming, but I'm thinking we're likely, ideally, we would be heading up to that trend line. currently at about the 1640 area, I think. So I'm watching for that. If this is a bear flag, that is the obvious target. Looking at HG, we've got head and shoulders, a double top broke down, made target, and we had a little IHS, and that's broken up and made target. I'm wondering about a possible retest of the high coming. EURUSD. EURUSD has broken over the falling wedge resistance. Not thinking this is going to deliver anything other than a rally, but there is a potential for a large reversal here on both EURUSD and DX. On GBP USD, we've got a little IHS which is broken up with the target in the 1.3285 area. That's been back testing. We'll see how that goes. USD JPY, that was I was talking about this being a looking like a flag, and that has made the target. The flag broke up, made the retest of the prior high, and that is the target on a flag. This is now a potential level top. Watching that with great interest. But USD CAD, possible topping action here, might be forming a head and shoulders, not as clear. 60-minute buy signal is fixed and not delivered anything so far. Australian dollar, 60-minute sell signal is fixed, not delivered anything so far. NZUSD, possible bottoming action. KC, still leaning towards seeing a retest of this high next at 415. SB, very nice looking little double bottom, but barely moved in the last few days, so that's been the case for a few days now. CC, we've broken slightly below this rising channel support. I'm thinking this bear flag might now be breaking down towards a retest of the October low. CT, we've got nice pull down from here. We're seeing a bit of a rally, but really this is a bear flag, and the target for that bear flag is a retest of the October low in about the 60, 62, 65 area. Lumber, heading towards a likely retest of the low, and that could be the second low of a double bottom, but I'm leaning towards the downside. CW and corn look as though they may be starting big bull runs. We've got a little IHS here which is broken up, not really delivered anything so far, but obviously that could fell back towards the lows, and that could be the second low of a double bottom. I'm leaning long on these, doesn't necessarily need to go that way. Corn, we had a little double top breakdown. That looks like that's failing, and I think that's because this is actually a fairly shallow bear flag forming. Sorry, bull flag forming. I think this the obvious next move for this is up. On soy, double top broke down here, likely fading back towards the high. ZL, we've got a perfect bull bear flag channel here. If that holds resistance, then this is a bear flag setting up a retest of this early November low, I think. Live cattle, nice rally here, possible bottoming action, wondering about a possible inverted head shoulders forming at the monthly pivot. And lean hogs, we're seeing a bit of a rally here. This falling wedge has broken up. I'm watching for a possible larger reversal pattern to form. All right, let's have a look at questions. Nope, no questions. In that case, that's a wrap, guys. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.